Now, more stories, insights, and analysis of Illinois policy and politics. This is Illinois Rising, presented by the Illinois Policy Institute. Once again, your host, AM 560's Dan Proft.
Dan Proft back with Pat Hughes, co-founder of the Illinois Opportunity Project. And Pat, we were just alluding to this vote that the Chicago Teachers Union is taking this week as to whether or not to strike. The main issue over which they are preparing to strike, and the vote is going to be to strike, we all know that. That's a fait accompli. Is right now, Chicago public school teachers pay 2% of their salary to their guaranteed seven-figure pensions. And most other teachers in the state pay 9%. CPS wants to negotiate that 2% up. They don't want to negotiate it up, and they're willing to strike over that. Not exactly consistent with the messaging that everything they do is for the kids in their classrooms. If you were the mayor of the city of Chicago and Karen Lewis and her union and the overwhelming majority of those 30,000 CPS teachers voted to strike, how would you handle it?
The same way that I would have handled it when this was threatened back in, 2012, I would let them strike. And the reason I'd let them strike is these kids are not getting educated anyway. I would let the teachers strike, and then I would get on the bully pulpit of being mayor, and I would go into communities, all the community leaders, and explain to the folks there that the teachers union, and frankly, a lot of the teachers, do not have the students' interests at heart, to stand with me, to hold together during the strike, and that it's the only way to get structural change. Because if the mayor caves, and my guess is he'll cave because he caved last time,
and he's incredibly weak now.
He couldn't be weaker.
And don't forget, thinking about CPS teachers and the demographics, you're talking about a lot of African American and Latino teachers. I mean, I hate to play racial politics, but it's the reality of the city. And the problems he has he has across the city, but particularly in minority communities, in light of these cases like the Laquan McDonald case, the Ronnie Johnson case, he is in just an incredibly weak position, and certainly Karen Lewis knows that.
Well, she does, and she's sharp when it comes to this stuff, and he's weak, and he also, if he's going to cave, must be soulless, because he's putting politics, as he would do, above everything else, because these kids are not getting educated. They have no chance. And every time something like this happens, the union says, we're going to strike because it's about the kids, and it's never about the kids, and it's infuriating. This is a crime. This is so immoral what they're doing and what Karen Lewis and her rank and file are doing. And the mayor, if we had a mayor who had some stones, we wouldn't have to worry about that.
And it turns out that this may be Karen Lewis's opportunity to never let a crisis go to waste, to get for her members what she wants, the same way she did 4 years ago or 3 years ago in the previous strike, where they got a contract that cost the city $300 million. The city had no way to pay for it. And so, they're not really paying for it. Thus, the billion-dollar annual budget deficits at CPS, thus the junk-rated CPS. And Forrest Claypool, Rahm's most recent toady, he installed as the superintendent of Chicago Public Schools, he wants a state bailout. If you're the governor, I made you mayor, and I'm going to make you governor for a day. If you're the governor and Forrest Claypool comes to you and says, we need $500 million as a stopgap this fiscal year to avoid a strike, avoid more chaos and unrest in the city of Chicago. This impacts everybody, including the governor, politically and in terms of quality of life in Illinois and ability to forge compromises in Springfield. And Forrest Claypool makes that kind of case to you. As governor, what do you do?
As governor, I might not even talk to Forrest Claypool, but if I were governor and he did get a chance to chat with me, the answer would be no. I mean, obviously the state's got structural problems of its own. This is a political problem that Karen Lewis and Rahm Emanuel have put themselves into, and they're going to have to work it out. And I think that there needs to be consequences, and those consequences have to be significant, and that's why I'd let the strike go forward.